Hello, this is Linda reporting out to you from COVID-19 Plague Central. Today is my report on the Arroyo Willow, and I'm going to be watching the clock above me to make sure I keep it to 5 minutes. The Arroyo Willow genus and species is Salix Lasiolepis. Some people say Salix Lasiolepis. And the family name is Salicaceae. Some people say Salicaceae. It is a dicot and it's dioecious, so it has one plant will have the male flowers or catkins, and the other plant will have the female catkins. The male catkins get yellow with pollen, and the female catkins carry the seeds that later on get covered with a wispy cottony-like substance. So those are two ways to identify them. They pollinate. The catkins have little nectar glands at the bottom, so that's a hint that their pollination is by insect, and their seed dispersal is through wind and water. And why water? Because one of the best ways to identify if you have a willow or not is if it's near water, you might be on track. Willows are in the riparian habitats, and they are often, their very presence indicates to us that fresh water is very nearby. They are also sometimes in woodland, but I think they're almost primarily riparian. They are throughout the state of California and some western states. They go from sea level to as high as 7,000 feet. And some of the ways you can identify them are they have a lush foliage full of silver or green oblong leaves, medium green on the top, and a beautiful light silvery green on the bottom. You'll be seeing that as you walk the trail. Maybe you're in front of one now. And they are sometimes in the form of a large shrub, say 8 to 10 feet across and 10 or 15 feet high, and sometimes in the form of a tree, which can get up to 30 feet high. So they're kind of versatile that way. Their seed dispersal, I mentioned, was through water, and they need to germinate in wet soil, which is easy because they're right there on the waterways. But the other thing that's remarkable about them is they proliferate also through rerouting stems and fallen trunks. So that's pretty versatile and robust. There's so many fun things now to tell you about the willow. Let's start by teaching you one last way to feel really certain that you're at a willow. If those oblong green leaves have red apple galls on them, they're called willow apple galls, which is a shiny red little bubble in the leaf, one or multiple, and the bottom is light green. Those are made by the sawfly, and even though it's called a sawfly, it's actually a wasp. The wasp comes and lays one egg or more on the leaf, but for wherever it lays an egg, the leaf swells up with this red gall. And then the egg goes through 5 or 6 developmental stages until out comes a little larva, a little like maggot-looking thing, and it drops into the leaf litter and creates a pupa, which you'll probably never get to see because it's covered with soil or camouflage with soil and leaf bits. So it's very hard to see. A number of other insects come and feed in various ways on the willow, including some other wasps that feed on the actual sawfly's galls itself. But for that reason, for example, the western tiger swallowtail butterfly comes, and so do 4 other butterfly species and 6 other moths. So you can just picture all these insects attracted to the willow, which is why the birds are then also attracted to the willows. And so in addition to eating insects, the birds come to get that lovely soft cottony cover on the seeds and line their nests with it. And the endangered least Bell's vireo bird also makes its nest in the willow branches. So in addition to that, animals like to use the cover of the thicket that willows create, for example, to come down and get a drink or to just be hidden. The willow is also really important in holding our banks of our rivers together. It stops erosion. The native people made many uses of the willow. One of the cool things about the willow is the inside, you should take off the outer sheath of a branch. The inner sheath is where the aspirin-like substance exists. So they chewed on that part of the bark, or they made it into tea to eliminate pain, which is wonderful. The other really unique characteristic of a willow, because most trees are not like this, is that its branches are very flexible, bendable. And so the Kumei used them to create the structure for the domed arches that would become their uwas, E-W-A-A, their domed huts to live in. And the leafy branches were woven in as part of the thatch. Same thing, because of those wonderful flexibility of the branches, they used them to create baskets, and they were said to help repel insects from any food that they stored in the baskets. I'm up at 6 minutes, so got so many more fun things to tell you, but that's probably good enough for now. I hope that helps you identify the willow and appreciate its superpowers. Thank you.